To our young people here today, we are excited you are with us. Throughout this event, you will be hearing from Megan Paulken, Director of Enrollment Management, as well as 3 Pathways advisors about the many opportunities available at Kalamazoo Valley Community College. You will also hear directly from 4 current Kalamazoo Valley students, and you'll find out what it's really like to be a student at KVCC. I want to point out that this event is being recorded, and specialists are broadcasting today's discussion to their youth and their classrooms. Please use the chat feature to ask any questions you have throughout the session, and feel free at the end to unmute yourself to ask questions yourselves of our career pathway advisors and of our KVCC students. I'll also share that in the last few minutes of today's event, we will be holding a prize drawing for a $25 Amazon gift card and a $25 Walmart gift card. So if you are a youth and you wish to participate, please take this time right now and put your name in the chat box. Also, if you are a specialist or a teacher and you have youth you are broadcasting this event to, please put the names of the youth who wish to participate in the raffle into the chat box right now. At the very end of this session, we will randomly select 2 names. With that, it is my pleasure to introduce you to Megan Paulken, Director of Enrollment Management at Kalamazoo Valley Community College.
Hi, thanks so much, Elizabeth, and welcome to everybody that's here today. I feel very honored and privileged to be able to speak to you again. Do we have any folks here? Feel free to use any of the icons at the bottom, your reactions, but anybody that was here for our presentation a few weeks ago about Kalamazoo Valley? Yay, fantastic. Well, welcome back. So last time we met, we talked a little bit about generally what we have to offer here at the college, but it sounds like there's a lot of new folks here today too, which is fantastic. So really quickly, just give you a quick overview if you don't know much about the college yet. All of us here today to chat with you are from Kalamazoo Valley Community College, and we are the community college in Kalamazoo County. We specialize in certificates and associate's degree programs as well as transfer programs. So today our hope is to tell you a little bit about the different types of programs that we offer and how they might fit into your future plans. So many students come with us with the intent to go straight to work after they complete a degree, as well as many folks that come here to explore some offerings. Maybe they have no idea what they want to study yet. Maybe they want to come here and take some classes. Maybe they do it while they're still in high school. Maybe they do it when they were retired. So there's a whole gamut of reasons that people come here, but you can definitely come here to take some classes to then transfer them to another institution to earn a bachelor's degree if you want. So lots of different offerings, but we tend to have anywhere from 7,000 students to 11,000 students. So at a given time right now, we have between 6,000 and 7,000 students enrolled, but over the course of the year, we'll get closer to 11,000 total new students, or I shouldn't say new, but unique students that are coming throughout the year. So we're a great size institution in Southwest Michigan, and we hope that you learn a lot about us. Most of the folks, we're all pretty casual here, so please feel free to engage and ask questions as we go. Any questions to get us started real quick? All right. Well, again, feel free to let us know if you do have questions. Hopefully you all saw in the chat, I added in a contact form. If you, throughout the course of this presentation, say, you know what, I'm kind of interested in this place. I think I could see myself here, or I'd really like to get in touch with someone, or maybe get some more information, feel free to fill out that contact form, and then we'll make sure to reach back out to you. So thank you for that. Well, let's get right into it. So today, like mentioned, we have some special guests with us. So it's my pleasure to introduce some of our advising team. So we have academic and career pathway advisors, as well as counselors that meet with students to help you go over selection process of classes, to discuss lots of different opportunities and offerings for the school for you. So we have 3 of these fantastic specialists today, and we've got Abby, Amy, and Anna. So let's see. Amy, do you want to go first? If you guys could introduce yourselves, maybe do a quick introduction of who you are and what you go over, and then we'll go through where you guys can each talk about your programs a little bit.
Absolutely. So my name is Amy Gill. I have been at KVCC for about 2 years now, a little over 2 years. And I work primarily with the art and media students and sustainable food systems. And then Megan, you said we'll get in a little deeper later.
Sure, let's introduce each other first and then we can go into that. Thanks. Right. Abby, would you like to go next?
Sure. So my name is Abby Gibson Howe, and I have also been at KVCC a little over 2 years. I actually started with Amy and Anna, and I am over the liberal arts pathway.
And my name is Anna, and I work specifically with our health career programs. So programs like respiratory care and nursing, and we'll probably get into this a little bit more later, but those are primarily some of the programs that I work with.
Fantastic, thank you. So just so folks are aware, we do have a number of different types of pathways available and programs for students. People who are coming to us can study, again, a whole gambit of different things, everything from the transfer programs like we mentioned. So if you want to become like a teacher, or if you want to work in engineering or business or so many other vast areas, health careers, there are lots of opportunities to transfer. But some of these other pathways too, again, the health careers where you could go into things like nursing, respiratory care, or dental hygiene, or if you're interested in maybe doing like our art and new media programs where you're doing visual arts programs, culinary, and brewing, just a whole other gambit. So we do have some other areas not represented today. We do have industrial trades programs. So these tend to be more hands-on based programs. So things like welding or automotive, computer sciences can fit into some of these areas as well. So CAD programming, things like that. Trying to think if there was anything else that we were not covering today. If it comes to me, I'll let you know. I apologize for that. So like we mentioned, we do have a few folks here that are more specialized in other areas. So again, feel free to ask questions. But Amy, would you like to go into depth a little bit and maybe tell a little bit more about the program specifically that you offer?
Yeah, absolutely. So the art and media programs, these are kind of your more digital based art programs. We do have also more the fine arts transfer program. It's designed to kind of transfer to Western, to their Gwen Frostic School of Art. That's more that traditional kind of fine arts program. Then on the digital side, we have graphic design, illustration, web development, web design and development, and animation, game art, and multimedia video. And some of these programs we do have as a certificate, which those certificates are great. Like a lot of times if you are going, we have students that will return, they might be marketing, in marketing or something, but they want to add on like the graphic design certificate or something that pairs well with that. Other of the degrees, some of the associates are kind of our get to work degrees. So the plan is like with that degree, gaining the skills needed to get you right into the workforce. We also partner with other four-year colleges and universities to take some of our associates programs and kind of like wrap into their bachelor's program, so that you can do the graphic design associates, but then go on to get a bachelor's in that elsewhere. So we have those partnerships where they take your credits here so that they're not wasted. Sometimes when you transfer, you might find that they don't take the credits that you earned from any other college, whether it's a four-year or a community college. So we've partnered with them to make sure that they do that. The sustainable food systems work with students that are interested in culinary. And again, we have a certificate or the associates. And we also have a baking certificate with that. It is a top-notch facility and program, and we have faculty. We like to brag that one of the faculty members has won the spring bake-off on the, I believe it was Food Network. Hopefully I have the right network. So we have Chef Corey on staff and a slew of other wonderful faculty that join us there. And we also have a brewing program. So again, certificate or associates, or we also partner with Western Michigan universities to have an associate, the associates in brewing that can, again, kind of fold into their bachelor's over there. So lot of great programs. The sustainable food systems, the culinary and brewing focus on kind of the like the local farming. We have our own kind of greenhouse area that students are involved in, like understanding what the different crops and seasons and how to do that, like, you know, farm to table kind of aspect of things. So kind of the quick down and dirty with it.
Fantastic, thanks. All right, Abby, do you want to share a little bit more about your area?
Sure. So the liberal arts is a rather broad umbrella category for what is kind of in that. So I have programs like English, communications, psychology, sociology, social work, economics, political science, international studies, etc. And many of those programs are really to transfer to four-year schools. However, if you complete one of our programs, you'll still leave with an associate's, even if you decide not to transfer after the fact. But we do have a lot of plans set up to help get you to whatever goal school you might have. At the end of the day, though, we still recommend that you reach out to any schools that you're interested in, just so that way we can work as a team and hopefully build the best plan possible. So that way, as Amy kind of touched on, you know, you're utilizing and making the most of your time, your money, your resources while you're at Kalamazoo Valley. So a couple of my programs are also certificates, but for the most part, they are full associate's degrees. So yeah, that's what I've got.
Awesome, thanks. Anna, would you like to share some more details on your area too?
Yes, so kind of like what Amy was mentioning earlier with some of the programs that are more focused on the go to work focus. A lot of our health career programs are set up that way, where after you complete the degree program with us, you are meeting the credential requirements to be able to go out into the healthcare field or to take the national or state registry exams for that area, depending on kind of the program that you're going into. We do have some certificates, so kind of depending on your time frame of how long you would like to attend courses. We have some short-term programs like the EMT program, or our medical assisting program has a certificate, but then we also have a full associate's option for that as well. And then programs like respiratory care, dental hygiene, and nursing, those are associate programs options only. So there's kind of a range depending on kind of what your end goal is. Some students will fold in one degree program into another. Maybe they start with one area of healthcare and eventually go on to another. Some students will start with programs like EMT and then maybe transition later on to nursing or things like that, because one of the unique things about our health career programs is several of them are something called selective admission process, where students complete prerequisites and then apply specifically to the health career program that they're interested in. So it's kind of a unique process. So that's why we definitely encourage students to start working with an advisor or counselor early on, so that they can make that plan and have a better understanding of what that application process looks like.
Wonderful, thank you guys. So real quick with that general overview, does anybody have any questions about any of these areas that you'd like to ask any of these folks? All right, and don't be afraid. You can try to stump us the best you can. Go for it. Tom?
Yeah, curious what you see as maybe more the high traffic pathways or the higher attended pathways, if they're, you know, they're all created equal, or are there certain ones that you really see higher demand for, or what are you seeing on your end?
I think, speaking more generally, globally, I mean, definitely the liberal arts. I mean, that's a huge one because it's a huge umbrella, right? Then we've got the, I know some, business is a huge pathway. that we have, and we're working on expanding that offerings with that in order to do online, almost like a strictly online option with that for students that works with. Some of the more specialized pathways, so your culinary, brewing, those definitely do tend to be smaller, and so we kind of we do kind of a, I guess, more active outreach in a sense for those particular pathways, going, finding those students where they may be, whether it's in one of the like tech centers, that type of thing, making sure that they understand that we have the programs for them.
Thank you.
Other thoughts or questions? All right, well, we actually have a few questions that we prepared as well. Some of our student ambassadors here on the line today actually helped come up with some great questions. So we have a few that might work really well with this team right here. So one question that we had was, what classes should I take if I'm not sure what I want to study yet, or if I don't know what I want to major in? What do I do?
I can speak to that a little bit. So there is an option to be an undecided or exploring student, and we have some base classes kind of set up that we know work with a lot of different programs that we try to help get students into. And also we have a class called TRS 104, which is a first year experience class. And more than just being a first year experience class, they spend a lot of time doing career exploration. Our career counselor, myself and all my colleagues have done some work around career exploration. So that course allows students to do a lot of assessments and a lot of reflection about what they might want to do. Other than that, we also have a general studies degree. If that's kind of where you want to start to give yourself some flexibility, then that's always an option as well. So those are kind of a few suggestions that I would have in case you're uncertain. I was very uncertain myself. I think I switched my program at least 4 to 5 times, and there is no shame in that game. You just have to learn to work with it.
That is so true. Great. Another question we have is, can I work full-time or part-time while I take classes? Like, is there a certain number of classes I have to take to be a student?
So there's definitely not a certain number that you have to take. What we'll work with you and have discussions on the type, whether you're using financial aid. Sometimes there are requirements depending on the type of financial aid that you're receiving, in terms of whether you have to take 6 credits, 12 credits, or like a prorated version. So that's something that we work with our financial aid department as well to make sure that you're doing what's required for those special programs. Outside of that, it's what works with your schedule. We have students that are working full time that are, they're taking 1 class, 2 classes a semester, working their way through till they're able to complete their degree. We have students that are working part-time or not at all, and taking full credits or full-time. Full-time is considered 12 credit hours. So anything over that is considered full-time, but yeah, whatever works best with you, that's what we're here to help kind of guide you along, and then selecting classes based on that.
Thanks, Amy. And something to note, just from conversations I've had from folks, sometimes you might hear that, and if you're thinking to yourself, like, oh my goodness, like there's not a chance I could take 12 classes at a time. 12 credits does not equal 12 classes. So it's good for us to know that in college, credits can mean like a whole gamut of things. Like the average class is about 3 credits. So like full-time tends to be maybe 4 classes, depending on what it is. But if you were going to take like a Zumba or weightlifting class, it's probably more like a 1 credit. But if you're going to take like calculus or like physics, you're probably more at like 4 credit spot. So really it's based on the amount of homework you're going to have, the amount of content that's going to be covered. And that will also dictate how much time that class depends on, right? So if you're going to meet multiple times in a week, or if you're going to meet once a week. So yeah, there's really a variance to that too. But do know, yeah, there's a wide parameter of what you can take. So thanks for that, Amy. If folks aren't familiar with college, sometimes that can be like a really overwhelming thought to think like, how am I going to do that? So very cool. Other questions that are coming up for this group? All right, I do have one or two more that we can go through real quick before we introduce our students here. Another one we had is, can I still go to Kalamazoo Valley if they don't necessarily offer the degree I'm looking for? Any recommendation on that?
Yeah. Oh, Abby, did you want to?
Oh,
So what some students will do if they are kind of, actually this kind of relates to some health career programs. They may be looking at another school that has a specific health career program that we don't have at Kalamazoo Valley. What we'll do is work with the transfer institution to work on the courses that will help the student in that transfer process. So they'll take what they can at Kalamazoo Valley and then plan to make that transition to the next institution. So there is definitely a way for students to be able to take courses. Some students will work on a general studies degree or do something called the Michigan Transfer Agreement. Those are courses that have been collectively decided on by most institutions in the state of Michigan that they will transfer to meet certain requirements. So like certain English classes, certain math classes, that kind of thing. And so we can work with students on completing those classes at KVCC and then transferring to another institution.
most of your four-year colleges, when you go to do a bachelor's, they're going to have gen ed requirements. And so that's where this Michigan Transfer Agreement kind of works at fulfilling those. So you get that same credit, you pay a lot less money. Then also when you're looking, like, even there's some programs, like if you're going into education, you can't get a teaching certificate, a teaching degree from KVCC because you need a bachelor's to do that. But we have a program, like Abby would work with these students. So then you work on the education. She's working with students who know they're going into education. So the classes that are chosen are going to feed into the college that they'll be transferring to. So we work no matter what your degree may be, with getting you as many of those classes at KVCC as possible.
Awesome, thank you. I did throw in the chat the link to the Michigan Transfer page. That website's actually really solid, and you can find information specifically on our institution, how they can transfer to. It focuses primarily on schools in Michigan, but it's a great site if you're interested in maybe looking at those types of programs. We did have a question in the chat from Suzanne. I'm going to hold that for the students to talk about because they're going to have really good insight to your question about organization. So we'll save that for our student ambassadors starting up here soon. But before we switch over to them, for Abby, Anna, and Amy, which they're going to stay on the line, so if we have more questions for them, feel free to let us know. But what I'd really love to know is what's a recommendation you would give to somebody looking to start out here? Do you guys have any insight or anything that you think would be helpful for folks to know as they're doing their college search or getting ready to enroll in some college options here? Abby, do you want to start for us maybe? Or if somebody's ready, no preference.
So my thought would be, don't be afraid to just do some basic Google searches around your interests and start exploring different careers that way. We're definitely here to help you dive more into that. But the internet is a vast and wonderful resource in many ways. And just, maybe ask those around you if you have any interest in being a teacher, ask about maybe shadowing and start doing some more informal career research maybe before you start. I would also say that if you do change your mind on a program, that's okay. You're allowed to do that. Know that it might take you a little bit more time to complete, but again, that's okay if you're okay with it. And I would also say, make sure to keep your options open. Yes, we have some lovely schools in Kalamazoo, but the state of Michigan has great schools. The United States does. So if that's something that you're able to do or you want to do, don't be afraid to ask about other schools, and we can work on that with you. We have a transfer resources coordinator. So if you are thinking outside of Michigan, Ezra, who works with transfer resources, is a great person to talk to and can be a really awesome connection for a lot of students.
And I would say, and sometimes taking the first step is the hardest. Things can be overwhelming when you think of all the things that you have to do. The application process for KVCC is very simple and quick. Start there. You're not committed to anything. You don't have to, we're not going to find you and drag you in, but it gets you started. And then you can start, whether it's then making appointments to speak with an advisor or counselor to look at that process. And then if you find that it's a good fit for you, awesome. We'll be there with you every step of the way. If you decide this isn't the right time for me or the right place for me right now, that's fine too. And we'll still help you get, even if it's directing you toward different resources or different colleges or institutions to look at. So like I said, sometimes that first step is the hardest one. So take the first step and just apply. It's quick and easy.
And I would also suggest kind of thinking about some of the things that are most important to you, that you are looking for in an institution, whether it is like referencing the clubs and opportunities on campus or program options, and just kind of thinking about what your vision of an ideal school looks like. And so that when you're, starting to look at the schools, and especially if you come to Kvcc and are starting to look at transfer schools, we like to work with you as early as possible about what transfer institution you would like to attend, so that we can make sure the courses you're taking with us will transfer to the next school. And so it's just helpful for you to have if you know kind of what it is you're looking for, and what the kind of the things that are important to you.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Abby, Amy, and Anna. Again, we'll be here if you've got more questions for that. But I'd like to take some time and make sure we give some voices to our student ambassadors who are here today. These folks are fantastic. They are not only either current students or former students that have transferred now, students of Kalamazoo Valley, but they are also employees with us. So these are the folks that give campus tours, that respond to messages often. You may have received phone calls from them before. So I'd love to introduce these folks. We've got Sammy, Sam, and Olivia with us today. Sammy, would you like to start us off? We'd love to know a little bit more about you guys, what programs you've studied, if you've transferred or graduated, and then, any other things you want to share real quick.
Awesome. Thank you, Megan. I am Sammy, and I am also one of those people that changed my major a few times before I graduated. I actually just graduated from KVCC this past winter commencement, and I did a liberal arts degree in history. So I've worked with Abby a little bit before I graduated, and just I love KVCC as a school, great opportunities. I don't plan to transfer right away. I kind of want to work full time, but I do plan to come back and use one of our options, which is kind of like a more unique option we have, is our university center, which is pretty neat, where you can actually get a few bachelor's degrees actually on our campus, which is really great for like adult learners and folks that are working a lot.
Yeah, thank you, Sammy. And real quick, just to plug that University Center program, super cool option. You can get degrees from Davenport or Siena Heights right now, but like Sammy said, you take them at our campus and you get reduced rate for it. So pretty solid option for folks. So we're excited for you, Sammy. Sam, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name's Sam Beeson. I've been an ambassador here for a little over a year now, I think. And KVCC has just been such a welcoming and amazing environment for me to kind of learn how to be a better learner. I'm finishing my Associate of Arts this semester actually, which is kind of freaky. And I'm transferring to Western Michigan for music education.
Go ahead, Olivia. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Olivia. I'm also a student ambassador at KVCC. And I started out at KVCC as a dual enrolled high school student. And then I transferred to Western. I didn't get a degree, but I just transferred my credits. And I'm about to graduate this spring with a bachelor's in speech pathology and audiology. So it's a great place to work. It's a great place to be a student. I can't say enough good things about KVCC.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. So we've got a couple questions. So let's go back to Suzanne's question first. So what are some of the most popular clubs or student organizations? And then do we have any sports teams? Feel free to take whichever one you want.
I'll go ahead and jump in. We do have some sports teams. We have men's and women's basketball. We have women's softball, men's baseball, and volleyball, women's volleyball. And we don't have a soccer team, but we did have a very, very, very popular soccer club, which I don't know why we haven't had a soccer team yet, though, for how popular it was. And we have had many, many clubs. Last I can remember, we had a huge list. We had an anime club, which I know is pretty popular, video game club. We had a few science and business like admin clubs, live action role playing like LARPing, like medieval type with the foam swords. If you know it, you totally know it. And another cool thing too, if you and at least like 8 to 10 friends or co-students have the same interest, you can actually get together with our student life resources coordinator and create your own club, which is a pretty cool concept. And from what it sounds like, it's not too hard to get that going. And of course, all of the other clubs for our foreign language clubs, we have our Spanish club's been pretty popular. So if we don't have a club listed, you can definitely have the option to make your own club too.
Awesome, thanks. There's another question in the chat, and Sam, this kind of references something that you did in your intro that you mentioned. So you had talked about how KVCC has a great environment. So can you describe a little bit more about the environment at the campus or at the college and kind of campus culture, what that's like?
Yeah, I think something that really kind of resonated with me about KVCC's environment is its emphasis on kind of teaching you to be the best version of yourself you can be. And you kind of see that throughout all of like the teachers. They all want to see what's best. They want to see the best for you, and they will fight for you tooth and nail if you need them to. And they will give you opportunities, and they won't hold your hand through all that. I think that's something that's really important. If you're struggling to kind of find your niche in the college, they won't force you to do anything. But if you want to succeed, they will certainly do everything in their power to help. And that was super important to me coming in as a student as a high school student actually as well, like Olivia did back in 2018. And the campus culture is just really relaxed. I mean, I'm not sure how many people in this call have seen our campus, but especially in the Commons, it's just really hard to have a bad day in there. You just kind of come to campus and it's just relaxing.
Nice, thanks. Any questions for this group coming up? Anybody have anything they have questions on at the moment? All right. What were some of the adjustments you had to make when you first first went to college?
I think for me, time management was a pretty big one. I started, like Sam said, we both started as dual enrolled students. And so the year, I guess it was my second year, I was playing soccer. And so that was a big adjustment to try and like have practice every day, have my college classes, have my high school classes, and try and get everything done. But I will say it's possible. You just have to be more intentional about how you use your time. So that was an adjustment that I had to make.
Yeah, kind of similar to that. I remember back when I was in high school, my family would always say, "Oh, Sam, you gotta get a planner and learn to manage your time better." And I would just vehemently disagree, like almost out of spite, like not get a planner. But I did one day once I actually started having things to manage in college. And yeah, it was absolutely like something incredibly important to do. So if you haven't yet, give that a shot at least once.
Nice. Sammy, anything you want to share on that topic? Any adjustments you had to make?
I'm with Sam and Olivia. Time management. You definitely really learn how to organize and structure your time a lot better. I mean, most of all my instructors did put reminders up or remind us of assignments in class, but sometimes you'll have a semester long project and you really have to make sure you're checking in with yourself, being like, okay, did I get this done? Because if you're not checking in on a semester long project, you don't have that reminder. You definitely need to set the reminder for yourself. So yes, self-organization and time management.
Nice. Well, we have another question in chat. These are great questions, by the way. Keep them coming. We love it. So why do you believe that Kalamazoo Valley is the better option for colleges?
I think one thing that comes to my head right off the bat is like an organization is only as good as its people. And so if you have this organization that has, seems like it has it all together and has these great opportunities, but the people that work there don't like their jobs or aren't passionate about what they do or aren't really concerned about helping students, it doesn't really matter how great the opportunities are. But I think at KVCC, like I can't speak highly enough about not only the faculty, but like all the staff, all the administrators. Like I always tell people when I went to KVCC, it's a pretty big campus. And so sometimes it's a little easy to get lost, but I knew that I could walk into any office, no matter what it was, and somebody would walk me where I needed to go or, just give me advice or help me with whatever I was struggling with. So I really love that. And I think the people there are really awesome and really just for the students and really want to help them succeed.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, you first.
Sorry. I'd say definitely what Olivia said. Also, it's kind of a mixture of it being a big, small community college. I've been to community colleges that are quite small and you'll go on campus. It's just like a little building, couple rooms, something like that, some offices. But ours is actually like our main campus at Texas Township is quite large. But with that being said, I liked the rapport I was able to build with my instructors and some of the staff because I thought going into college, or at least, my whole life, we always have this big idea that even though we know community colleges there, we always have this big idea of huge universities, probably from like, watching movies and stuff like that, that I felt like I wasn't going to be, my professor or instructor wasn't going to know my name. But I feel I've been able to establish a better relationship with my instructors here at KVCC that I've even been able to in high school. And that's one thing I really enjoy. It's like a little big school. You're small and cozy in one spot still, but it's still about 1.5 miles to walk the entire campus because I do it about once a day.
I think the biggest thing for me that sets KVCC apart from other institutions is kind of like the value you get, kind of I don't want to say like credit wise necessarily, but like just you're paying obviously a much lower cost than you would say, for instance, if you went straight to Western. I think the math is like 300 something per credit hour there, which is something I should figure out more specifically, seeing as I'm going there soon. But I know Valley's is in the like sub 150 per credit hour range. And so not only do you get that like cost difference, right, where you're paying less, but I would argue you get more for the experience of going here, at least for your first 2 years, where you can build a base of people, you can build a network, you can gain skills and like discipline while you're here, and you have an environment where if you need to, you can learn how to do new things. This is a safe place to be, a safe place to fail and to learn. And the kind of value you get from having a place like that is just immeasurable.
That's awesome. Thanks, guys. With it too, just to piggyback off of something Sam said, and Olivia echoed in the chat, the cost is such a huge, bonus for folks. We have in-district and out-of-district tuition. So in-district means that you live in a school district within Kalamazoo County or Mattawan school districts, okay? If you live outside that area, but you're looking to relocate into the area, it only takes about a semester or so, sometimes even less than that, to gain that in-district tuition rate. And if you're in district, a whole semester's worth of class, Amy had mentioned about 12 credits, tends to be close to about $1,500. So let's, for easy math, say $3,000 a year for classes to be a full-time student. Well, some of you may be familiar with a program called TIP, or the Tuition Incentive Program, or maybe you're familiar with something called Pell Grant. Pell Grant is the largest form of financial aid for if you filled out the FAFSA, or that free application for student aid. If you qualify for those types of programs, we are a phase 1 eligible school for TIP. So that will cover your tuition and fees for in district. So that's a fantastic offering for folks. Pell Grant, if you qualify for the max, that's about $6,000 a year. So if any of you folks were listening, said it's about $3,000 a year in district for tuition. So here's like the real kicker here. If you get Pell Grant and you get $6,000 from that, but your tuition's only $3,000, you're going to get what's called a refund of another $3,000. So we're going to actually give that money back to you to pay for books, living expenses, transportation, all that good stuff. So the real selling point for that, if you're thinking like, well, that sounds really pretty awesome, but like, how does that really compare? Is that if you went to Harvard, if you went to U of M, if you went to Western, any other school, the maximum amount of Pell Grant that you can get is $6,000. So if their tuition is $40,000 a year, you're going to have to come up with, $34,000 or whatever. I mean, that's a substantial difference. It's really important to know if you're trying to really weigh cost options, is knowing that no matter what that tuition point is, the max you can get is still the same, whether it's at community college, and all of the community colleges are the same that way, versus a public or private institution. So that's a really good point. I'm glad you mentioned that. All right, another quick question. What's your favorite part about being a student at Kalamazoo Valley?
I think, I've said this before, but I just think the opportunities that you get here are kind of, I would argue, unrivaled in the area. Just, for instance, I graduated high school with about a 2.3 GPA. I was not a strong high school student. And so I was thinking, okay, no school is going to want me. I will get zero money, which is really not good because I'm paying for college on my own. And so, money is really helpful with that. So I thought, okay, Kalamazoo Valley, I can at the very least get an associate's and see what happens. And so I did. But within my first semester, I got invited into the honors program, which is essentially a full ride with the exception of books. And that opportunity alongside a bunch of other scholarship programs that I've applied for over the years have just completely changed me as a student and as a person. And if I didn't go to Valley, I would have never had any of these opportunities.
I think the thing I like the most about being a KVC student, and I guess this kind of is similar to what Sam was starting off saying, maybe a little bit more. It's like what you're getting, the options and everything that you're getting here, but also what I really liked when I learned as being a student, once again, like it being like a smaller place, I really think community college is also very helpful too, because it's like a transition almost. Instead of just wanting to start right out at a 4-year university, I liked it because it really got to show me like, am I going to be like a big fish in a little pond, or do I want to be, little fish in a big pond? I don't know if I said that right. I might have not said that right, but I think everyone knew what I meant. And I think that's goes for a lot of people that come from, whether it be right out of high school, homeschool, anywhere. You get to KVCC and you kind of start thinking, well, I can go on and transfer to a bigger university, or you can go on and get your certificate and do something right out of KVCC. And I really liked that you can kind of learn about yourself while you're a student there.
Nice. Other questions coming in? Elizabeth, how long would you like us to take questions till?
Yeah, we should probably wrap it up. We're getting close to our time here, and I want to allow time to announce the winners of our 2 gift cards. So Dan, if you would please put on the screen, the slide that Megan had shared. And I want to thank all of you at Kalamazoo Valley, Megan, Abby, Amy, Anna, Sammy, Sam, and Olivia. Your experience has been really enriching for all of us, and it's been really a pleasure to have you here today. I myself am a former Kalamazoo Valley Community College student, and I used to work at KVCC, and a proud former student. So thank you all for sharing your experiences with us. With that, I'm very happy to announce the names of our gift card winners. So the $25 Amazon gift card goes to Brian Mendez. And the $25 Walmart gift card goes to Sydney Kelly. So congratulations to the 2 of you. I'm going to ask that you put your mailing address into the chat directly to me. And so I can get those gift cards sent out to the 2 of you. So congratulations. And again, Megan and team, thank you so very much for being here. Megan, is there any closing statement you'd like to make?
Thanks, Elizabeth. On all of our behalves, we really take privilege in being able to connect with all of you today. So thank you for joining us. Again, I put the contact form link in the chat a second time, so that if you do feel like you're interested in getting connected with us, you can email or call any of us, or feel free to do the contact form and we will reach out. But just know that we are here for you and we're excited. So if you have no idea where to start from, we are the folks to get connected with. So thank you. And yeah, we hope that everything goes well for everybody.
Thanks, Megan. Thanks, everybody. And please join us next week, Thursday, March the 18th. We will be hosting the Michigan Regional Council of Carpenters and Millwrights. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your week.